Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my...
4-channel amplifiers have been around for quite a few years, typically come in like 4x50, 4x100. If you move up in the world, 4x250, like this Rockford that we tested before. And then we have SQ versions of 4x200, like this Stereo Integrity SIQ 200.4. Now, Rockford has a 4-channel 1000 watt amp. Down for Sound has a JP234. Banda has an Elite 4000.4, which is one of the more powerful amplifiers out there, 4x1200 watts RMS at 2 ohms. Now, the granddaddy of 4-channel amps is the Rockford Fosgate T15 KW, which we've shown in a previous video. This is the most powerful 4-channel amp ever made, $25,000, half ohm stable.
I'm running 60 12-inch woofers at a half of an ohm load.
There's said to be less than 20 of these T15 KWs ever produced, but it is the granddaddy of 4-channel amps with over 15,000 watts total of RMS power output. Now, friends over at Down for Sound, as you guys know, seem to be releasing new amps like every month. The JP 10.4 is their new 6,000 watt 4-channel amplifier. Got one in here. You can see the awesome design work here on the box. But you know what we got to do? Let's open it up and see what's inside.
What's in the box?
First up, we have the owner's manual. It is specific to this one amplifier, and it does list the specifications here on the first page. We are going to get into the specs later in the video. Also, we get an adjustment screwdriver as well as 2 of Alan's favorite keys he gave to us. Here's a bass remote cable. It is plenty long in length. It is a Cat5e, but be careful. It's a 10 conductor or 5 pair Cat5e. Most are 8 conductor or 4 pairs. You can see all 10 different wires here. And here is the bass remote. It has the metal encasing. It has power protect LEDs, and it also has a voltage adjustment so you can match it to your system. Overall, very nice bass remote, one of the best in the business. Getting the JP.10 out of the box, you can see it has the same green anodizing as the big JP83. Here on one end, you can see the dual 0-gauge inputs. Crazy for a 4-channel. Ground remote 12 volt ground. I don't like the way those aren't lined up, but that's the way a lot of these Korean amps do. For speaker outputs, we have 8-gauge over and under style here on the right side. And this amp is bridgeable, so you can bridge it to 3 or 2 channels. On the opposite side, we have a lot going on here. Tiffany style RCA inputs and output. And then for the channels, each one is the same, but we're just going to go over one. We have gain from 6 volt to 0.2. We have the adjustment for high pass, 20 hertz to 800 hertz, or a times 10 factor. Also, you can turn that off if you want. Low pass, 50 hertz to 800 hertz, also a times 10 factor. You can also defeat it if you'd like. Again, channel 2's settings exactly the same as channel 1, so you could use it as a high pass amp or a low pass amp or a band pass. You have a switch for 2 or 4 channel inputs, power and protect, as well as clipping for channels 1, 2, 3, and 4, and the remote bass connection for the remote bass knob, which works on channels 3 and 4. As with all the JP amps, it does have an acrylic bottom plate. This one does have an active fan as well to help keep things cool. As far as dimensions go, 19.7 on the long side, 9.4 inch width, 2.6 height. The width and height match across the other JP amps. Here's a comparison of the JP83, the Big Daddy monoblock. You can see the colors match exactly. You can see the 4-channel is just a little bit shorter, around 4 inches or so shorter. Overall, the amps look really good together. The 10.4 is rated 1,000 watts times 4 at 4 ohms, 1,300 times 4 at 2 ohms, or 3,300 watts times 2 bridged at 4 ohms. At the time of this video, this is the most powerful 4-channel amplifier currently available on the market. Now let's fire up the good old SMD to more engineering. On the left side, you'll see RMS power output in watts. In the middle, the ohm load. On the right, the voltage of the dyno will also show the remote indicator so we can calculate the efficiency. First up, we're going to try 4-channel mode. We do have 2 channels on the dyno. The other 2 are on 4 ohm resistors. Certified test first to 1% distortion. 1193 watts times 4. Craziness. That's the 1% distortion. Now let's try it up to clipping. Again, it's still rated 1000 watts times 4. Let's see if we get up to clipping. Notice our voltage is dropping to right around 14 or so volts. So close to 1200, right at 1200 watts times 4. That's 2400 times 2. That's 4800 watts, my friends. Dynamically, even more. This is a 1 kilohertz test tone here, simulating kind of your mids and highs, around 1400 watts times 4. As far as efficiency goes, we measured about 80% at 4 ohms. Now this is an estimate. Using a clamp is not the best technique I've heard for doing this, but we're doing the best we can. 2 ohms rated 1300 by 4. Let's try it. 1 kilohertz certified test first up to 1% distortion. Easily got 1300. We got over 1750 watts at 13.65 volts. So we had like literally 3/4 of a volt higher we could have gone. We weren't using our charger, we're just using the LTOs. So here we go. Uncertified up to clipping, again about 1750 watts at 13.6 volts. Insanely powerful 4-channel amp here, my friends. Dynamic burst, look at this. Multiply that times 4, friends. You're getting close to 10,000 watts out of this amp. 2450 watts times 4. As far as efficiency, we measured 68%. A little less than we like to see, but you're not going to worry about efficiency if you have an amp that's powerful. Now we're going to bridge the amp. The way you do this is one channel positive, the other channel negative. You can see here across the top, we have both channels bridged. 4 ohms is rated 3300 watts times 2 at 14.4 volts. Let's try 40 hertz here, simulating kind of a subwoofer load on the amp, and see we get that 3300 right at it. About 3315 or so watts per channel, certified to 1% THD. Now let's try the uncertified test, which takes us up to the clipping point. Here we go. The drama builds. What are we going to get? Oh, there you go. About 3,375 watts times 2. Craziness. What about dynamic burst? So we can get close to that 5,000 watts. 4,300 or so. Actually, a little over 4,300. 4,300 and about 20 watts times 2. Efficiency-wise, again, we're using the 40 hertz track, a little bit less, 67% at 4 ohms bridge at 40 hertz. As far as the results go, you just saw all the results here, and we did better than rated by quite a bit. This is an insanely powerful 4-channel amp. If you want to bridge it and use it as a 2-channel amp, it is also very powerful. If you stick around to the end of the video, we'll do the 4 ohm bridge test using the 1 kilohertz track and see what kind of power we get with that. We're going to try 2 different types of speaker tests. Hang with me. First off, let's try bass. All right, friends, we're doing something crazy here today. This JP 10 to the 4th power, we're going to use it to power 2 sets of subwoofers, the quad box, as well as 2 18-inch Scar subs. That's right, the 2 Scar subs are running off of 1 channel because they're 1 ohm each. I have them in series, so that's 2 ohms on 1 channel, and the quad box is wired at 4 ohms, and we have it bridged to channels 3 and 4. So let's see what it does. We're getting serious now. We got the Rockford RF DJ1s hooked up, channels 1 and 2, and we have the quad box on the sub channel. This JP 10 to the 4th. Let's give it a sound quality demo. What you say? How about some Smoke Jacket Blues? Sometimes if you had a hard day, it's time for a good back rub. So the part you won't see here is the part of me jamming out for about an hour and a half to dozens of different my favorite tracks. I literally thought I had a concert going in the OSS labs. I had so much fun jamming with this amp. Now let's check out, see what's inside. Now with the acrylic bottom you can see, but it's easier for us to take the acrylic bottom off so I can show you guys the internals of this amp. It does have 4 separate power supplies, one for each channel, and also has caps for each channel as well as chokes. So let's take a closer look here. You can see there are the 4 different transformers, and there's 2 caps for each of the channels. And for the input filtering, we have 25 volt 3300 microfarad capsons. And then for the rails, we have 160 volt 1800 microfarad. Again, there's 2 per channel of the Samha or Samwa, however you say that. So overall, laid out like a typical Class D amplifier, but very nice. This is built in South Korea, so it does have that extra quality that you guys are looking for. Extremely, extremely powerful. Now let's talk about the pros and cons, things I like, things that could be better, at least things to be aware of. Some of the cons are just that. As far as the good stuff, straight out of South Korea, has insane power, dual 0-gauge inputs, Tiffany baby for the inputs as well as Tiffany outputs, crossover flexibility, low pass, high pass, or band pass, remote bass for channels 3 and 4. Some of you guys say why. Blame that on me because I asked them before to have a bass remote. Flexibility, obviously, definitely lots of flexibility here. Things to consider, big electrical is needed, has huge draw as expected with this much power. It's only available in green. The power input layout with the plus and minuses not being together, it's kind of a Korean thing. I wish that was different. That's about all I could come up with for the negatives for this amp. So overall, very good and recommended. And again, my speakers I used were 150 watt RMS speakers, and I did not blow them. Had people say all the time, oh, it's too much power, it's going to blow your speakers. If you use it correctly, you won't have to worry about that. But again, overall, guys, I had so much fun with this amp. It is so flexible, so powerful. It can do whatever you want it to do. Most people are going to use it with stunt walls, but you can use it with subwoofers. You can mix it, stunt wall and subwoofer, or mids and highs, subwoofer. Lots of fun. Thanks as always for watching. Until next time, Big D, I'm out of here. Since probably the majority of people are going to use this as mids and high amp, we're going to try the 4 ohm bridge test at 1 kilohertz to see what kind of power we get here. Certified test, 1% distortion. There you go, right at 3,500 watts. Now let's reset it and try the uncertified test up to clipping. Again, this is a 1 kilohertz track. Earlier we showed the other one. Again, right about 3,500 watts times 2, 7,000 watts of power here of this 4-channel amp. Dynamically, let's see what we get here. And yeah, pushing 4,400 watts, getting close to it, 14.84. Yeah, boy. You know how them sound waves go?
Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way.